things back to reactors and comments, you have every right to defend yourself. Swag Daddy, I want it to be the last time because it's not, it just gives me a headache. It's not worth it. So I've put up with a lot online and sometimes I snap and I'm not going to apologize for it. So.
Good morning, everybody. Dough Cookie back. Feels like forever since I've done one of these where I've just sat and talked and said what I thought. Well, here I go. And yes, if you'd like to see, I have a co-host today. He wanted to help me make the video. He is currently bathing, so don't look at his nudity. But hi. Yes, he's helping. So if you hear purring, it'll just be a little buddy helping me. So anyway, so I was just in the middle of, not in the middle, I've been watching some of Pulpy's stream. And because, yes, even I need a filter. Like, I need a filter because Foodie's just bleh. So Foodie's decided today is the day that Foodie and Salah, Saludi, are going to make a formal statement. She's made bullet points and she's reading off a list, basically, to keep herself on track so she doesn't go off track and say insulting things and say bad things. So instead of just fronting up and saying, Salah said something out of line, or even letting him apologize for himself, Salah said something out of line, should not have said it. It was awful, it was bad, and he will not be saying things like that again. It was a mistake, and he is sorry. I am also sorry. I'm sorry to my beezers for allowing that. Instead of doing that, they've decided to call out everybody. They're going to point at everybody else's reactions, actions, and words and behaviors instead of looking at their own. She even said the words, making stuff up. Foodie, reacting and saying how something makes you feel because of the words that you say is not a made-up lie. It's my reality. It's how I feel. How do I feel about Salah after I heard him say KYS to one of your beezers after they had called him boring? I think Salah is a thin-skinned, egotistical, malevolent piece of crap. Yes, I do. That's what I think of Salah. If that is all it takes for his fragile ego to come up with one of the worst things you can say to another person in response, then he does not need to be on YouTube. He does not need to be sitting there reading the chat with you if that is all it takes. He wasn't even angry when he said it. He said it in a very calm, light-hearted way. He said that, and it's one of the worst things you can say. It literally is. I have never, ever, ever, even when I was immature and young, said that to anyone in the heat of an argument. It is a really terrible thing to, and the fact that he doesn't gauge or clock that it's bad and you should not say it just is very telling about the kind of person he is. And we know you're the kind of person who will defend her man to the ends of the earth, no matter what he does. We've seen you do that with Nosferatu, Gargamel. We've seen you do that. We know that's the kind of person you will do and say anything to protect the person you are with, regardless of how awful they are. That's just what she does. That's what you do. As far as the reacting channels and all that, we're always going to say what we think and feel. As long as it doesn't break terms of service, there's nothing you can do about it. If you act crapola, we're going to say you're crapola. I would be expecting to see from a newlywed or even just a couple, a happy couple, a new couple living in Kuwait, their life in Kuwait. How is that invasive? What shop do you like to go to? What's different about the grocery stores you're visiting? Because she's domestic now. Is there any particular way that Salah likes the house to be cleaned? How are you cleaning? What is your specific schedule like? What are you doing differently? What's different about Kuwait than Canada? Because she's moved there for changes. Yet any question we ask is considered invasive. Literally cannot ask a single question about how they're living in Kuwait differs to Canada, how she has mentally or physically changed, not allowed to ask anything. So if that's the case, if we're not to be involved or ask questions, We might as well just not watch Foodie and go and watch a movie. Go and watch somebody else who does want to talk to us or will allow questions. Because the beautiful thing about chats and comments is you can react and respond to what you want. Yep, you can curate your responses, you know. You can read a comment and ignore it. You can not read a comment. You can block people. She's good at the blocking. Or you can read a comment and just move on. People put stuff in my comments and I'll just be like, if I like the comment, I'll heart it. If I think it's an interesting comment, I'll pin it. And if I think I want to have something to say back to it, I will. A lot of the times I don't. If it's something negative, I'll just leave it lie as is. I'll approve it and let it lie. Because if I don't think it's a nonsense comment, I'll just ignore it or pin it. And if the comment's great, I'll pin it too. You'll never know which one I think it is. That's part of the game. But Foodie doesn't have that ability. She only focuses on things that rile her up. Because why? Because every negative comment attacks her ego and the image she is trying to put out there for her new audience and just for herself. She's always been egotistical and arrogant. And she's always wanted to fight off those comments that might dent or damage that image that she has of herself. It's too late, Foodie. People have seen you. People know who you are. And the hijab is never going to cover up your ugly, ugly heart. Salah says you have a white heart. Your heart is rotten. It festers. It's decayed. The goodness that once rested in you is long gone. And putting on a hijab is not going to bring it back. Now, the stupidity that is Foodie Beauty is still talking about the two idiots, Dumb and Dumber, DD and Gargamel. Not addressing them at all ever is the smart choice. Anytime you bring them back into the fray, it's gonna up their views, because now it's gonna create back and forth, and he needs that to stay relevant. If you never addressed him or spoke to him, nobody would be going there. They'd get so bored so fast because he has nothing. He doesn't have personality. He doesn't have good content. He doesn't vlog. He can't cook well. The thing that one thing he does do, he does it terribly, and nobody's interested in that. The only time people want to know about him is when he's talking about you and you're talking about him. You need to stop it. Ignore him. Vaporize him off the face of the earth. She's not smart, and this is where her ego gets in the way. See, Buddy putting his little head up. Buddy putting his little head up. Now, I did have one other thought, and I'm going to throw it in here before I finish up the video. Foodie talks about people's parenting. She infers that people are bad parents by spending 1 minute on the YouTubes, looking at any smidge of her content and having a feeling and an opinion about it, and putting that in words in a chat. Now, Foodie, since you like to run around the YouTubes, adding comments into other people's chats and reacting, and you're literally reacting to the reaction channels, which is so funny, but I give you the same energy. Why aren't you looking after your husband? Why aren't you cleaning something? Why aren't you cooking something? Why aren't you bending to his every whim? Why aren't you fulfilling every husbandly need that he has? If parents don't get downtime to be on YouTube, you don't get to have downtime and be on the YouTube. Do you see how that works? If you have downtime and don't have to sightsee 24/7, and you don't have to be doing husband and wife things 24/7, and you get to roam around the YouTubes, so do parents. We don't have to be sitting staring at our children 24/7 for them to be well parented, well looked after. And as far as parents saying anything about your actions is bullying, no, it's not. We were people before we were parents. People can still say what they want about your actions. If it's mean, that's on them. If it's criticism, that's on them. If it's just a thought or a feeling about something you've done, that's okay too. Parents do not have to be held to a higher standard than anybody else, because they will suffer the consequences of how their children are raised by them. I can only be thankful that you will never be a parent, as far as I can see, because I can only imagine how poorly you would nurture and raise a child. So yeah, so those are my thoughts about the whole Foodie situation. She's an arrogant, egotistical fool that she's always been. She's just doing it in Kuwait now. And Salah is just basically Foodie with a beard. No, I should say. Salah is Foodie and a man with a beard. Yeah. And if anybody did a hijab touch count, please let me know, because I'd be so interested to know how many times she touched the hijab, because it was giving me anxiety watching her. Like, it's like every third word she's... Like, if I touched my face and hair that many times, it would be impossible to watch her. Watch me. It would be impossible. I mean, I probably shake my hands around too much. But anyway, these are my thoughts, these are my ideas, these are my feelings, and I would like to hear yours. So it would be great if you left me a comment, maybe hit that like, and subscribe if you'd like to. All right, guys, I'll see you later. I'm going to be online tomorrow on Skinny Queen Reacts channel. So if you want to pop by, it'll be 4 p.m. Detroit time. So that's where I'll be. And I also might do a live on my own channel later that evening. So that'll be probably 7 or 8 o'clock my time, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So maybe I'll see you then. Bye.
Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 난 겨울. Yeah, go blood. Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear. 제가 먼저 zero 폭설한 그 children. 꿈에도 I wasn't aware. 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해. 내 신감이 들어 단판이 태도 머릿속을 흔들 네